Okay. Hey, welcome. Hey, Cassie. Welcome to American national government. I feel so much pressure right now. Should I feel this kind of pressure? Like, okay, so normally, like when I'm in class, like I feel pressure because you guys are all staring at me, but now I feel like you guys are staring at me and like I'm on a computer. You know, it's awkward. It's so awkward. It is. Am I making it more awkward? Okay. You only paid $3,000 for them, so I mean, sure, 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 sure. Um, should we get started? The faster we get started, the faster you guys get to go back to sleep. Oh wait, Cassie looks like she's like actually at home. You're in your dorm room still. Oh man. Well, you got a nice dorm. Looks like a house. Is there a freaking tree? Way to go. Is it decorated? You're right. Why would I even ask? Why would I even ask? Okay, we can uh, we can get started. Sure, we can get started. You guys ready? Take down some crazy notes. Okay, I got some stories to tell first. If you guys don't mind a brief. Okay. We'll do a brief one. Okay. Um, so this story came out yesterday, and I thought it was pretty crazy. So AstraZeneca, the third vaccine company. Everybody's coming out with vaccines now. It's like everybody's got a vaccine ready to go, highly effective. It's supposed to be 90% effective. Um, Again, I just want to point out to you that I really hope that when I do get the vaccine, if I get the vaccine, it looks like this. Like I want to see COVID-19 vaccine like written on the vial. I want it to just black and white COVID-19. Um, that was the first joke. Didn't land. So it's gonna be a rough morning, guys. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, and it works. Who knows? Okay, I'll move on. Here's the thing though about this vaccine. So the Pfizer one has to be stored at negative 94. Negative 94. I can't look at me. I'm always looking at me. I need to look at the camera. I got. Yeah, well, America's ordered millions upon millions of. Did you hear? Did anybody hear that? That that was my girlfriend. She's waving. Bless you, baby.
Huh?
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Um, I'm in Texas. Do you guys see the roof? The roofs in Texas are all made of metal. Um, so we can hang things by magnet. And you guys are jealous now. So interesting. Yeah, Cassie. So let me just finish the story. Okay, so Pfizer has to be stored at negative 94 degrees. Moderna, who came out a week later, uh, is stored at negative 4 degrees. This one, the AstraZeneca one, the one out of Oxford and AstraZeneca, same place. They say it only needs to be refrigerated, like with a household refrigerator. So this makes the vaccine very. It's like it. Think about that. If you have to have a Pfizer vaccine that is at negative 94, how crazy is that? So, yeah, go ahead. Right, right. That's what they're saying. Mm. But the real problem is, what if you have a Pfizer vaccine that has to be at negative 94? Where do you get negative 94 freezers? Like, where are you going to be able to store this thing? How does it ship? You know, they're using so much dry ice that they're going to run through the all the supply that America has of dry ice by the end of the year. Uh, um, but because of that, check this out. I thought this was super interesting. Um, Pfizer's stock, because of the way that they built their vaccine, having to be stored at negative 94, is falling off a cliff right now. Do you remember when the guy sold all his stock the day he announced it? Are we like, am I crazy? Am I crazy? He sold 60 the CEO of Pfizer sold 60% of his stock the day that they announced that they had a working vaccine. And Pfizer's stock went crazy, and then now today you're seeing it just absolutely fall off a cliff because of all these other vaccines that are coming out that don't have to be at negative 94 degrees. Oh, I'm sure. It's been raising up until today. Well, it could have. It could have. I mean, because if I had shares in Pfizer, I'd be selling too. Like if I see the CEO doing it, like why wouldn't I be doing it? Okay, let's keep going. Um, as you know, I'm in Texas. Oh, look up and to the left, always. Very hopeful, very truthful. It's it's the political look. Yeah, yeah. See, thank you, Cassie. You think so? Okay, thumbs up. I'll keep going. Um, the TSA screened more than 3 million, 3 freaking million people over the weekend. And okay, I'm getting ready for my flight on Friday. Just, doing some last minute packing. All my packing's last minute. Don't ask why. I pack last minute. Anyways, I'm watching the news as one does. I'm sure, Cassie, you were watching the news this morning. Okay. Uh, Dylan? Guys. Okay, fair. Riker, I'm sure you watched the news this morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As one does, right? I'm watching the news. I'm getting packed to get ready for my flight. And it comes out that the CDC on Friday, of all times, says Americans should not be traveling. And so, what was I supposed to do? Cancel my flight? Is it tell my family and my girlfriend that I'm not going to Texas? I'm going to stay in Manti, Utah, and just cook a sad chicken for Thanksgiving? No, I'm not going to do that. I got on my flight. So what does it mean that all these, but at what cost? I love the end of this headline. They're heading off for Thanksgiving, but at what cost? I'll tell you right now. Um, let me tell you how I protected myself on the flight. I wore my mask. I wore my sunnies, even though it was dark, because I'm protecting my eyes from people coughing directly in my eyes. And I tried not to breathe for half the flight. It's joke two. Joke two didn't go so well, if that's what you're asking. Oh, thank you. Okay, good. I really appreciate that. We'll move on. We'll move on. I don't know what this is going to lead to, though. I mean, like, we have Dr. Fauci this morning saying that we're going to get to 300,000 deaths before the end of the year. I mean, but we have all these vaccines. I just want to get back to freaking normal. That's all I really want. Um, it's crazy. But I'm in Texas now, and thankfully I'm in Texas. You guys can see I'm wearing my Salmon shirt. Um, I'm not going to lie to you. I have pajama bottoms on. Um, I'm wearing the collared shirt, and I have my pajama bottoms. Uh, Zoom, man. It's great. It's great. I did take a shower. My hair's a little wet, but okay, we'll keep going. I'm in Austin. I'm in Austin, guys. It's me and my girlfriend. I wanted to just show you some things real fast, if I could. Let's see if this works. It was not working yesterday, but I wanted to show you. She's not taller than me, okay? Gabe's coming in. I wanted to show you some things. Look at that's me. Do you see me in the Austin, Texas thing? Oh no, this is awkward. I'm wearing the same Salmon shirt. That is awkward. Do you guys see me wearing the Birks though? Huh? Birkenstocks. Dad shorts? Wait a minute. What? Okay. Well, I'll just. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I wanted to show you guys this. Check this out. We went to this place called Wonder Spaces. It's amazing. Right? Okay, that's one. I just got a few more to show you guys because I just check this one out. Check this one out. It's this place that like this screen is gonna like use your shadows to paint. Check this out. Isn't it neat? Is this it? It's kind of neat, right? I wanted to show you. Oh, check this one out. This one, for some reason, the closer you got to it, you can see like, do you see the balls like levitating? I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. This is a place. It's a museum. It's an installation in Austin. I just thought it was one of the neatest things. I have one more to show you guys. I think you guys will really dig this one. This one right here. Check this out. Okay, this one's called Immigrant, and I thought it was so cool. What'd you think? Okay, you guys don't care at all. That's, I try to show you guys some art. Just try, just trying to show you guys some art. That's what I do. We go to museums and stuff. That's fine. That's fine. Let me ask you about this. Here's a crazy story. Man loses his pants in brawl outside of Colorado's first In-N-Out burger as 14-hour line clogs up highway. 14 hours for In-N-Out. It is definitely not Whataburger, I'll tell you that much. What? Dylan, do you want to pass my class? I'll keep going. I will keep going. First of all, the man did lose his pants. I don't have the picture of the man losing his pants. I felt like that might have been too risque. But yeah, apparently this fight turns into a brawl, and a man loses his pants over a burger, and subpar burger at that. It's only okay. We'll move on. I got one last story, one last news story for you guys. I thought would be pretty interesting. I read about this morning. Apparently, somewhere in southeastern Utah, they found this silver monolith just sticking out of the ground right next to some red rocks. It's 12 feet tall. Nobody knows how it got there. And there's no explanation. There's no writing on it. The man's property, yeah, right. The man's property, whose it is, has no idea how it got there. He said he found it by helicopter, and it's in a fairly it's in the middle of nowhere. So, and it's up on top of a ridge, so it's like very difficult to be able to get this monolith there. It is huge. Some people think it's just an artist's work, but it's just a 12-foot monolith buried in the sand somewhere in southeastern Utah. Thoughts on what this thing might be? Looking at the guy, if that guy's 6 feet tall, it could be about 12 feet out of the ground. It does look like rock, yeah. Yes, he found it using a helicopter. You think he placed it down there? I like your conspiratorial mind. It could. He could have done it. Cassie, what do you think? What about you, Cass? What do you think? Cass? Cass. Shrugs. Hashtag shrugs. Free shrugs. Could be. Could be. A lot of people are saying like aliens. I honestly think it's probably just some weird artist, you know, doing something. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie 2001, but that's exactly how this movie starts off. 2001 starts off with just a monolith out of the ground, and people going like, "What is this? What is this?" It could be something like that, but I just think it's super strange. There's a lot of people saying, "Leave it alone, 2020," you know. Um, Anyways, we'll move on to the actual lecture. It's been 15 minutes. You know, I figured I'd give you guys some news, and then we talk about some things. Are you ready? Olivia, are you ready? I want to know more about the monolith too, bro. It's there. There's no information. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be lots of people wanting to sit on the monolith. It's in southeastern Utah. It's only a few hours from us. We should be able to find it. Olivia, are you ready to move on to the actual lecture? She's moved. She's AFK. Oh, there she is. Yes, yes. Does anybody know what AFK means? Wow, who's a gamer here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I still game. We'll move on. We'll move on. You ready? Here we go. Okay. So the question is, how do we determine which news to trust or not? We're starting a media section, and it's one of my favorite sections. Oh my gosh! When I get back next week, we're gonna start talking about some really controversial things. But today I have to like lay the groundwork for like media, so I have to talk about like kind of a little bit of history. But like this is where I get this is my ish right here. I really really love this stuff. So how do we determine which news to trust or not? Do you, Riker? Where do you get your news from? And don't say me. Don't say me, Riker. Good. Good. Your dad sounds like a great individual. He sounds like a good man. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're like mostly center, slightly left, but it's good. It's good to to have that kind of bend. Olivia, where do you get your news from? Shrugs. Hashtag shrugs. Free shrugs. Got it. I mean, you get it from me too, right? Am I biased at all? I know. Shrugs. You don't know? Yeah, you don't. I mean, I might have some bias. You don't know. Should you question me? Should you question your professors? Gosh dang right you should. I don't want any of you guys just blindly trusting me. I mean, you too, Cass. I don't want you just make sure that you question me, okay? Not just hashtag shrugs. Think okay, good. Yeah, the reason why we have to question our media is because they lie to us. Um, the news can often just be wrong, to be honest with you. Like, we see this happen all the time, and we don't even really question it. We just keep giving them our fealty and our loyalty, and it bothers me. Why don't we question more of the things that we see on our computer screens, on our TVs, on our freaking phones? You know, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us get our well. I don't want to say that yet, but this was in 1948, right? The news had called the election for Dewey. Obviously, we've never had a President Dewey, but it seems a lot like what's going on today. We have a news media that, and let's, I don't want to say this too strongly. A lot of times our media gets things absolutely right, but we do have to call into question sometimes our media. In 1948, the media had called the election for Dewey. Obviously, Harry Truman won. Obviously. That is our president. So media can get things absolutely wrong. I don't know if you guys remember this story from 2019. Does anybody remember this? this image, I can give you some background, okay? This was in Washington, D.C. These kids are from a high school, private high school called Covington Catholic. And they were on a school trip to visit Washington, D.C., and they were at one of the monuments. Now, you can see, obviously, they're a relatively conservative group of kids. They're all wearing MAGA hats. But the media captured this photo, and they see what is a young high school student wearing a MAGA hat and a Native American man standing off against each other. And immediately the media started attacking this young man wearing the MAGA hat. His name is Nick Sandmann. And they tried to paint it as if this smug smile that he had was him defiantly standing up against the Indian man, the Native American man, by coming up into his face and, really having this standoff that was... But the reality of the situation, which came out much later, was that the Native Americans were harassing the high school students. And the high school students were standing their ground, just doing the best they can to stand their ground. I thought that was an amazing turn, but the media did not portray it like this. And it turns out that Nick Sandmann and Covington Catholic sued CNN and several other news outlets and won. They won. They got millions of dollars because of the defamation lawsuit. It made this guy, this Nick Sandmann kid, look really bad. Who's a high school, he's a high school kid. He's a minor. You can't do that to these people. But the media will take a story like this without even knowing any information of what actually happened, and they'll see this image and they'll paint it to whatever they really want, whatever narrative they're trying to push. And I think that's really important, especially when we're starting to think about social media too. Like where most of us get our news these days, like our phones. Instagram? I mean, do you guys Insta at all? Do you guys... Good for you. Good for you. I should have deleted it. I mean, I don't post anymore because I'm trying to run for office. Well, I'm trying to run for office soon, so you don't want too much. You don't want too much out there. No, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe I'll delete that before you guys. Wait. Don't look right now. I'll delete it. Well, what about all these other kids? That's fair. That's fair. That's the thing. This smirk was actually like what got him in trouble. People thought that it was like some kind of like he was going against the Native Americans, which not at all. He was just standing his ground. Yeah. But what we saw from traditional media and social media was it was ridiculous. They really went after this kid. Do you think there's a difference? Do you think that social media is more truthful or less truthful than traditional media? Could be. It really could be. I worry though because traditional media is really going through something, and we'll get to that near the end. Sure, maybe. I don't know. Is Reddit any better than Twitter? Twitter's just a bunch of people just like Reddit, just commenting on stuff. Let me kind of give you some background. All right, so check this out, okay? We have seen trust in media dive, especially if you're on Team Red. If you see Team Red right here, it just completely takes a dive right after 2016, right before 2016. And then guess what? If you're on Blue, Team Blue, you definitely trust the media. And I think a lot of it has to do with the media has a certain bias, right? Like do you think mainstream media is more right or more left? Yeah, and I agree. I think it's definitely more left. And you see more Democrats trusting the media because they're like, oh, they share my point of view, so they must be right. And you'll see Team Red, the Republicans, they don't trust the media because they're like, oh my gosh, this media is so biased. So it makes it really not feel fair anymore. Um, but everything has to do in terms of politics and how we trust the media has to do with how our presidents saw the media. So, like, when FDR was president, he started this relationship with the American people with his fireside chats. People would come and sit by the radio, and they would listen, and there'd be the soft crackle of a fire, and you'd hear FDR's famous voice go through the radio telling you great things. I don't know if that's how FDR sounds. What was that? She said it wasn't that good. Um, but then Nixon comes in the 70s, and you guys all know what happened to Nixon. Nixon got in trouble for some fairly unscrupulous things. And every time he went on the TV after that, people's trust in the president through media absolutely fell. And then we had an uptick of trust with Obama because what Obama did was he carefully constructed his image. He never went off script. He had his speeches and he would say them so carefully and he spoke so well that people started to trust politics in the media again. And then Trump comes in and destroys that image in about 2015, 2016 and starts yelling fake news, fake news, fake news. Now, I'm not saying Trump was wrong or right, but I will say this. He had a bit of a point in terms of, like, when we start looking at things like this and this, he's not wrong. Um, Trump was able to pull out this idea that the media is not the golden word. Everything that the media says is not absolute truth, and I think that was a huge that was a huge point. Um, so yeah, right now that's where we're at in terms of trust in the media. But I wanted to show you this University of Missouri study. Check this out. Okay, so like this was in 2018, 2016, something like that. They asked a bunch of people how much they trusted each one of these organizations, and it's so weird how they group together. Check this out. Okay, so like BuzzFeed, like, is among the least trusted. Trump, just the word Trump comes out as being some of the least trusted, right? And then, like, look, you have all your internet groupings here being not very trusted. And then you have, like, the nightly news reports right here, and you're everywhere from CBS to ABC to Fox, and you still see not a lot of trust there. It isn't until we get into the print media right here. This is all print media right here that we start to see huge amounts of trust. So make sure that you guys remember this. Right now, in terms of trust in the media, it seems to be print media that seems to be the most trusted amongst Americans. But this comes to be a pretty important thing. That now that we see that print media is very trusted, also NPR, BBC, PBS, this is where we get a lot of the news that I share with you guys in class. Also, I don't know if you can see it down here, The Economist is almost extremely highly trusted. So, yeah, it seems to be print media being the most trusted news sources of today. And has a lot to do because print media was some of the first media that we got in America. And it used to be, guys, highly investigative. What do I mean by that? Investigative. Yes. Yeah, they actually tried to do their job. Yeah, I love Fallout 4, yeah. She actually did her job. She hunted down stories and leads and like got clues and like yes, exactly. Exactly. And there's so much copy and pasting going on in print media. If it comes out on like Reuters or the AP, copy paste right into the newspaper, not actually checking any leads or facts or anything. And we have seen just a complete dearth of investigative journalism, and a lot of it is because newspapers can't afford it. They can't afford to send their reporters out into a story and try to find the facts. So much of it is, if CNN reported it, then we're gonna just go right back to it. We're gonna go right back to what CNN said because CNN reported it or Fox News reports it, and it really hurts our trust in the media. If we don't have actual people trying to get the facts, what happens? We start to not believe, and because of that. Well, look, before we get there, like, check this out. Before 1950, people mainly received info in two ways: newspaper and radio, and not even really radio. Most people had newspapers, and so the competition between newspapers for what was real, what was factual, it was hardy. There was a hardy competition between newspapers, which made them better. Competition makes things better. But as we got into radio, newspapers started to die out, and then guess what? Right around 1950, some glowing box started entering into our homes, right? The glowing box, the television set, and it's so interesting. I think television watching is actually way down right now, unless you have, I think we only turn on our television for like Netflix and video games. That's pretty much all we turn on our television for. But see, you don't even have a TV, bro. You don't even have a TV. Cassie, you got a TV? What's your favorite show? Okay, see? Yeah. That's entertainment. I'm sure. I thought you were going to say like, Dateline, or you don't watch news, do you? I thought we talked about this. I thought we were going to watch more news, but it's not a big deal. Olivia, what about you? You got a TV? Olivia, you got I know, right? I just want to see her shake her head, yes or no. Olivia, you got a TV? Okay, it's not a big deal. Olivia's AFK right now. That's fine. Oh, let's see. She has a chat. Let's see. It's frozen. Yes, I have a TV. Thank you, Olivia. That's so nice. Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so we understand that newspaper and radio were a big part of it before 1950. TV was after 1950, really changed the way we viewed media. All of a sudden, we started falling in love with these news reporters. I don't know if you guys watch any CNN, but there's this guy named Don Lemon. He kind of, he gets on my nerves, but a lot of people trust what he has to say. A lot of people trust what he has to say. I don't know if you know this, but like in the 50s and 60s and 70s, there was this guy named Walter Cronkite, and America trusted what he had to say. We started glomming on to these personalities, and if they said it, then it was absolute truth. Exactly like Dr. Fauci, exactly like that cat. And you know what's interesting is, like, newspaper prices are started to steadily rise. Why is that? Why did newspaper prices steadily start rising? Anybody know? Well, I will tell you then. Because people stopped buying them. And in order to maintain the price of the newspaper, remember, this is the last place where we got investigative journalism. So we are literally watching the death of investigative journalism right before our very eyes because of the demise of print media, and televisions were what killed newspapers. Why am I going to read my news when my news could be told to me? And now we're seeing even more so, we are seeing newspapers completely fall off the map. Right now, the only thing we got are major newspapers. Small town newspapers are dying. And because of that, we are seeing less and less investigative journalism. The idea that people actually look into these stories and dig to try to find the truth, it is gone, guys. It is freaking gone. Oh, T just got in. But because we're seeing the death of this newspaper, We're seeing the death of investigative journalism. More and more people are relying on things like Fox News, CNN, heavily biased news forms that don't actually look into the stories. And these stories, they're so wrong sometimes, guys. They're so wrong. There was a story in 2019 about a guy named Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett apparently if you heard the story on day one, he was attacked in a brutal, racist attack. Turns out, it comes out weeks later that he had planned the whole attack. He had faked it and just told the news. And the news didn't even double check his story. I just think that there's a lot probably in our news that we're not looking at deeply enough, and we're not finding deeply enough. And when I bring you guys these stories, I can't, for one, that's why I love bringing you guys news stories, because I can't tell you for fact that it's fact. And that's why I like seeing your opinions on it. There's a girl that sits by the wall. I can't remember her name, but she's always so critical of the stories. And I love that idea that she's critical of these stories. She questions me. Anyways, we're at 36 minutes. Do I have anything? Let me make sure here. Do I have anything else? Oh, I want to save that. Okay. So, I want to stop there with kind of the history and the death of investigative journalism, because I don't think it exists anymore. I think the last bastion, you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I think the last bastion for actual investigative journalism anymore is people like you and I on places what about, you guys said Reddit. Reddit was pretty good. Maybe. Yeah, and the guys at 4chan, what do? They literally take all the information they can and they try to synthesize it. Now, a lot of that synthesization may turn into conspiratorial kind of, bullpucky. I don't know. Yeah, wasn't it live capture the flag? They were trying to steal that flag wherever they could. Yes. Yeah, they literally. I mean, that's real investigative journalism, right? I mean, I don't know if it's journalism, but that's certainly real investigative powers. But that's the thing, though. When you see things like that, when you see groups of people, not just create memes, but actually investigate stories that aren't reported in the media. These are the things we need to be paying attention to. The media will constantly lie to us and give us a narrative that isn't necessarily what we need. We need more news, actual news. And that's why I search every morning for news stories. I try to bring you guys the most interesting stuff. Things like, okay, remember, nobody's putting together this, right? Nobody's putting together that, okay, Pfizer comes out with its vaccine, negative 94. On the same day, the CEO sells half of his stock, and then 2 weeks later, we have 2 more vaccines that don't need to be at negative 94. And so why did he sell his stock? Nobody's talking about that story. Guess who's talking about that story? We're talking about that story. And look, is it a coincidence? Oh, maybe it's just coincidence. But are we thinking about it? We are thinking deeper beyond the headlines. And I think that's what I stressed for you guys to do this entire class. That's all I have. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I want you guys to have a nice morning. Will you guys make sure that you guys, if you haven't already, will you please make sure that you eat a breakfast? Olivia, can I get a thumbs up on that? Dylan, have you already eaten more than sunflower seeds? Okay, that's cold soup. Cold soup is fine. Cold breakfast soup is fine. Cass, you gonna eat some breakfast? Good. Riker, what about you, buddy? Eggs, yeah, you had some eggs. Was it just eggs? Raw? Just write down. Way to go, man. Your mom sounds nice. I know. Will you tell her, just tell her thank you for me, because I like seeing my students nourished. That's good. All right, yeah, limit that salt. Make sure you tell her that by 2606, we're gonna be 100% sugar. So cut down the sugar too. All right, I will leave it off there. I will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining me on this Zoom call. I had what was the total? What did I get? I got 10. So I got 9 students. You guys are amazing. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys on Tuesday at what 9:30, right? 9:30 on Tuesday. You guys please have the greatest Thanksgiving weekend of your lives, and also really watch the salt. Just cut it back just a little bit, all right? All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for everything, man. See you guys. Bye, guys.